the Sports Renegades podcast on SportstownChicago.com. Welcome back to the Sports Renegades here on SportstownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky.
We're in our second hour now. As for the first hour, we talked about the Hawks with their nice Game 1 overtime playoff win against Nashville. We talked about the Bulls and the NBA. We went over our NHL brackets, and now we're moving on to baseball. The Cubs are in first place, tied with St. Louis at 5-3. Cincinnati has 5 wins but 4 losses. That's because the Cubs and Cardinals game 2 was rained out last week. So.
Yeah, and I mean, for people calling for Chris Bryant, I mean, where would they be with him? They'd still be in first place.
Still be in first place. Of course, the Cubs have had some infield issues as Tommy LaStella went on the DL, but he hopes to be just on there for the minimum 15 days. So hopefully that's true.
And think about that Red Series going into it. I was just thinking, if they only win one of those games, it's probably going to be on Tuesday because Arrieta's pitching.
That's what we thought, and it ended up being their loss in the series.
that was too bad. That fourth inning, Arrieta only allowed 5 hits, and they were all in that fourth inning.
Yeah, and they were all singles, I think.
They were all singles, then
Jonathan Herrera couldn't get to a couple.
2 of them just were out of the reach of Jonathan Herrera. One of them Alcantara didn't die for, which you and I were both complaining when they showed that on the video board. We were saying, well, why didn't he die for that?
I saw the replay again at home, and I mean, he didn't even. It's like he walked away from it almost.
That would have saved a run, or potentially saved the inning. They may have only allowed the 1 run.
Yeah,
if he could have gotten to that one. Let's see, Jay Bruce, Marlon Byrd both hit singles just out of the reach of Herrera. If Olt or LaStella was playing there, they probably would have gotten to it because Herrera's not very tall.
Right. So it's just it was very interesting.
And Zach Cozart
happened.
Yeah, I mean that was some of the only hits Arrieta allowed were in that 4th inning, which was too bad because otherwise he pitched a phenomenal game. I mean he was hitting with all of his pitches, just a lot of weak grounders that got through the infield.
Right,
and we were getting worried going into the 8th inning because that we might see a shutout. And then I remember you pointed to me. I think De Sclafani is out of the game. I'm like, is he really out? And then we were waiting to see who the relief pitcher was. And then we hear Kevin Gregg.
Yep. And then we knew we had a chance.
Yeah. And then a lot of Cub fans started laughing when they announced Kevin Gregg was in, because I mean we knew what Kevin Gregg does.
Yeah.
And then let's see. Yeah, Caesar hit that ball, just hit a foul home run, ended up walking, and then Castillo pinch hit a home run that landed in the basket, which
barely got out.
I remember thinking Marlon Byrd had his glove in the air at the ivy, and I was just thinking,
I thought he was going to catch it.
I was just thinking, if he catches that, there's no way they can win, because it seemed like every single break they could have caught in that game went the Reds' way. Every single thing that could have gone the Reds' way did until that home run.
Right.
And
then we had rallies going in the 8th and 9th innings.
Yeah, they did, and then after Greg allowed the hit to Fowler. They brought in Cingrani to face Rizzo, and he was swinging to give him the lead, and I think he ended up walking.
Yes.
Because Coughlin came, or no, I think Rizzo might have made an out, and then Soler walked on 4 pitches.
I know in the 9th inning, Rizzo got on base, didn't he?
No, that was Castro led off with a single.
Castro led off with a single. Okay.
Yeah, I remember after Rizzo. Remember Fowler stole second base, I think.
Yeah, he did.
Rizzo, I don't remember what he did. He made an out, and I remember Soler was walked on 4 pitches.
Right.
I remember once it got to the 3-ball count, the catcher Brian Pena ran out to the mound and said, "Just throw this one out of the zone."
Yeah.
And then Coughlin struck out. And the interesting thing I found is that when you and me go together, there's a good chance that we'll see a pinch hit home run.
That's right.
The last Cubs pinch hit home run was Nate Shearholtz against the Cardinals last year at a game that both of us were at.
That's right. I think that was his last home run with the Cubs. He was traded.
He was
just
cut shortly. He was
yeah.
cut shortly after that pinch hit homer.
That was July 26th, and the trade deadline was the 31st.
Yeah, I remember thinking, I was like, man, trade him somewhere, saying, hey, this guy can pinch hit. Yeah, I mean, that was their last pinch hit homer, so we've seen the last two pinch hit homers.
There you go. Who would have thought? If you're taking a look at the standings in the rest of the National League, Atlanta and New York are tied for first at 6-3.
Yeah,
Washington's 3-6.
They just can't win. I mean, Strasburg has been terrible in both of his starts. Zimmerman was absolutely atrocious in his game against Boston, and whenever Scherzer pitches, they don't score.
Yeah.
Gio Gonzalez has had mediocre games.
We're still confident that they'll be able to win the division, but
I think
they haven't started
is.
off good anyway.
I mean, the Braves may have had somewhat of a shot to win it before that Craig Kimbrell trade. I think now, but even though they still got good players, they're pretty much in almost full rebuild with like no outfield, and now they have a thin bullpen. Even though they still got good players with Freeman at first, Simmons at short, Johnson at third, and a decent starting rotation, except they're not playing to win the division this year. I mean, the only team that probably can challenge them is the Marlins, and they're just a year away from being that good to contend with a team like the Nationals. Except the Nationals bullpen took another hit. Craig Stammen tore some flexor in his elbow and is likely out for the season.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. That's really bad for him.
So, yeah, in the offseason, they lost their closer, Rafael Soriano, although he was removed from that role last year after a bad second half. They traded Tyler Clippard to the A's for Yunel Escobar, and now Stammen's out for the season. And, I mean, that's three guys that are gone. I mean, I know Soriano is still on the free agent market, so they may try to sign him just to get an extra arm because, I mean, they're running out of guys. I mean, I know they signed, I think it was Kenley Jansen from the Blue Jays. Or is Kenley Jansen the closer on the Dodgers?
He's the closer on the
Okay, well,
Dodgers.
they signed some guy named Jansen from the Blue Jays who had a...
I think there's a
two of
Kenley
them.
Jansen and a Casey Jansen.
Casey Jansen.
Yeah.
Casey Jansen.
He's the guy on Toronto, I think.
Yes, they signed him from the... They signed him from the Blue Jays after having a mediocre season, blowing games in the ninth inning. So and they signed him for $5 million. Except, I mean, their bullpen's running out of guys. I mean, at the trade deadline, they're going to have to be looking to acquire some bullpen arms. And another thing is, Ian Desmond, I think, has made 6 errors already, or maybe 4.
Something like
that. I think
that.
it's 6 errors in 7 games or something like that.
That's not good. Colorado is leading the NL West at 7-2. The Dodgers are 6-3. San Diego 6-4. Arizona 4-5. San Francisco 3-7.
Wait, so the Cubs are the only team to beat the Rockies?
The Cubs are the only team to beat the Rockies. They won that series in Colorado with the 2 wins.
Yeah. The Colorado swept whoever they played. I think they swept the Giants this week.
They swept the Giants, and I heard that was the first sweep of the San Francisco Giants in their home opener since 2002. In 2002, they ended up going to the World Series and losing to the Angels. But
you mean like in their home opening series they lost?
In their home opening series, they haven't been swept since 2002, but they just got swept yesterday.
Wow.
So that's embarrassing for San Francisco.
I mean,
they're not off to a good start. Not that it really matters.
Yeah, I mean, Colorado's just scoring a lot of runs. I mean, their pitching has been mediocre.
Nolan Arenado, after he made that tremendous catch, he had a home run yesterday, too.
Man, he's been on fire to start the season. Same with Tulo and Corey Dickerson.
Carlos Gonzalez. All of them have been really good so far.
Morneau
had a good defensive play yesterday, which is surprising.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. They've got plenty of I mean, Arenado's a Gold Glover. LeMahieu's a Gold Glover. Morneau's a pretty good fielding first baseman.
Yeah.
Gonzalez is has won a Gold Glove. I mean, they've got great defense and a great offense, and
no pitching though.
Yeah,
that's the thing
good.
That'll catch up to him.
The only thing that really could help them from a pitching standpoint is if Jonathan Gray proves that he's big league ready and can join the rotation and can be maybe a number 3 starter. as when he gets called up. He was the guy taken after Chris Bryant.
Okay, yeah, so he's probably got a pretty high ceiling too.
Yeah,
we'll have to see.
He was the number 2 ranked prospect in that draft, and the Cubs passed on him for the number 3 ranked prospect in that draft, Bryant. And actually, the funny thing is, MLB.com came out with a great article about the Cubs' decision to draft Chris Bryant.
They said that instead of a pitcher.
Yeah, they said they defied every single mock draft out there. Every single mock draft had them taking a pitcher,
and they didn't. And so far, it's worked out. So. We'll have to see. I mean, although he's a good pitcher, but
he could be a good pitcher. Except the better pick will always be Bryant, no matter how good Gray is.
Yeah. All right. The American League Central right now. Detroit is 8-1. They're off to a hot start. Kansas City's lost 2 straight, but they're still 7-2. The White Sox are 3-5 in the middle of the pack with Cleveland, who's 3-5. They split that series.
Yeah, Speaking of that, I saw yesterday was a fantastic day for Chicago sports, where the Blackhawks winning in double overtime in the playoffs. The Bulls a 15-point comeback
against the Hawks to solidify that 3rd seed.
The Cubs shutting out the Reds 5-0 to remain in first place, and then the White Sox lost.
Yeah, if they would have won, it would have been extra special.
No, it's extra special because they lost.
Okay, yeah.
And the funny thing is,
2 baseball teams can't win on the same day. I always find that interesting. I never usually see the Cubs and White Sox win on the same day. Normally, they either lose on the same day or split.
They lose on the same day.
Well, that happened a lot the last 4 years.
That did. And funny thing is that the Fire were originally supposed to play yesterday, and then the game got moved to a later date for whatever reason. And I think they would have won that game because they were playing a really bad team.
You would have had all the professional sports winning.
Except the White Sox.
Except the White Sox.
And the U.S. beat Mexico in a World Cup qualifying match, I think.
I saw that.
They beat them 2-0.
2-0 in a friendly or something, international friendly.
Oh, yeah, international friendly. Yeah, they won 2-0. Yeah, I mean, you know things are going good when it's a convincing Cubs win too. I mean, you and I were talking about this. Like in the 8th inning, people were just standing up because that's how much buzz there is and how the atmosphere is going to be at Cub games this year. We couldn't remember the last time people were just standing up for a random at bat.
Right.
In the 8th inning.
They had a rally going, but normally people wouldn't be standing.
Yeah, no, not unless there's like actual playoff buzz, playoff atmosphere.
Not since 2009, since I can remember.
I mean, it's really showing that these fans are just ready, and they're going to be 8th and 9th inning, if it's close, they'll be standing up the whole time. And the Cubs are showing they're going to be making the comebacks this year. As they had to come back Sunday against Colorado, Monday against the Reds, and almost again on Tuesday against the Reds. I mean, that seems like it's going to be that kind of season. I remember after Castillo hit the home run, all the fans were standing for the rest of the game.
Yeah, we pretty much were.
Yeah, or when the Cubs were batting, everyone was standing up for every pitch after that Castillo home run. No one sat down after the home run. Right. I mean, it shows, an April game, a game in April that's like that, I mean, you know it's going to be a special season when stuff's like that, and the fans are going to be making it like that.
Taking a look at the American League East real quick before we go to break. Boston is leading the division by a game. They're 6-3.
They're off to a hot start.
They are. Baltimore is 5-4. Tampa Bay is 5-4. Toronto's 5-4. So that's a 3-way tie for second place. And the Yankees, rightfully so, are 3-6 at the bottom. Hopefully they stay there.
That Toronto pitching staff is not getting it done.
No, R.A. Dickey, Mark Burley. Those guys are too old. And
well, Burley's a good option. I mean, except if he's the guy on your pitching staff that's doing the best when he's 40 years old, there's
an issue.
Yeah, there is an issue. I mean, when he
was on the White Sox pitching staff and he was the best, the Sox weren't going to the playoffs then.
Right.
Keep in mind when he was earlier back they were.
Yeah, keep in mind when he was their best pitcher, he was also younger. He wasn't 40.
Right. The AL West, Oakland is 5-5, and they're leading the division. So a team that's not even over 500 is leading the AL West. Houston is 4-5. The Angels are 4-5. Texas is 4-6. Seattle, surprisingly, is only 3-6. I know Fernando Rodney blew a save against the Dodgers a couple days ago, which made me mad because he's my closer on my fantasy team.
I saw he had an awful game against the Athletics too. They were winning 7-3 in the ninth, and he gave up 4 runs.
Yeah, I'm thinking I might do what you've done and put a starting pitcher, relief pitcher spot there in.
They get more points.
Instead of having a closer, I think I'll just add an extra pitcher, someone who can be in both spots, which I'm not sure how many of those people are left, but
there's plenty of them.
Yeah, we'll have to see, because I think yours is Carlos Carrasco is there, right?
Yeah.
And is he okay? I know he was hurt.
They said he's going to start on Monday.
Okay, well, that's good news. That
it didn't matter because I have Aaron Sanchez, who's also listed as a relief pitcher, so I could have thrown him in that spot, too.
You could have thrown him there, too. And I'd still have Alex Cobb on the DL. Once he comes back, I'm dropping Giovanni Gallardo. Yes, I have Giovanni Gallardo. He had a